The rain had soaked through his jacket, the kind that clings to your skin and makes you feel smaller than you already are, and as he stood there under the cold white lights of a glass tower that reached into the clouds, Daniel Carter felt the weight of his entire life pressing down on his shoulders at once. His hands trembled, not from the cold, but from the quiet fear that he was failing the one person who mattered more than anything else in the world. Before the story truly unfolds, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and quiet miracles that change lives, take a moment right now to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, subscribe to the channel, and tell us in the comments where you are watching from. Your support keeps stories like this alive. Daniel had not always been this tired man with hollow eyes and a bowed head. There was a time when his laugh came easily, when plans for the future felt exciting instead of terrifying. But life has a way of collapsing without warning. 3 years earlier, his wife Emily had passed away after a sudden illness, leaving Daniel alone with their 5-year-old daughter Lily and a mountain of responsibilities he had never been prepared to carry alone. Grief did not arrive as a dramatic moment, it seeped into everyday life, turning mornings into battles and nights into silent endurance tests. Daniel worked 2 jobs, one during the day at a small warehouse and another cleaning offices at night, just to keep food on the table and a roof over their heads. Dreams were luxuries he could no longer afford. That evening, Daniel had brought Lily with him to a corporate building downtown because he could not afford a babysitter. She sat quietly beside him in the lobby, her small backpack hugged close to her chest, eyes wide as she looked at the marble floors and towering walls of glass. This building belonged to Hartwell Global, one of the most powerful companies in the city, a place where decisions were made that shaped thousands of lives. Daniel was only there because his cleaning company had been contracted for a late-night deep clean. He felt invisible among the polished surfaces and silent elevators, just another worker moving through a world not built for him. As the night stretched on, Lily grew tired. Her head rested against his arm as he wiped down surfaces that reflected a version of himself he barely recognized. When security finally approached and explained that children were not allowed inside after hours, Daniel felt humiliation burn his chest. He gathered his things quickly, already apologizing in his mind for circumstances he could not change. As he turned to leave, Lily looked up at him with a calm far beyond her years, sensing his frustration and shame. Her small hand squeezed his, grounding him in the middle of his unraveling life. Unbeknownst to Daniel, someone else had witnessed the moment from the upper-floor balcony overlooking the lobby. Eleanor Whitmore, the CEO of Hartwell Global, had stayed late that night reviewing reports she could have easily postponed. At 52, Eleanor was known for her sharp mind, relentless standards, and emotional distance. Success had come at the cost of relationships, and loneliness followed her into the glass-walled office she called home more often than her actual apartment. When she noticed the man and child below, something stirred inside her, a faint echo of a life she had chosen not to live. Eleanor did not interrupt or announce herself. She simply watched as Daniel and Lily walked out into the rain, the automatic doors closing softly behind them. For reasons she could not immediately explain, the image stayed with her long after the lights were turned off. It followed her home, lingered in her thoughts, and returned the next morning when she reviewed security reports. Against her usual habits, she asked questions. Who was the man? Why was a child there? What she learned unsettled her more than any quarterly loss ever had. Days later, Daniel received an unexpected call. He assumed it was another shift offer or a notice about reduced hours. Instead, he was asked to come in for a meeting at Hartwell Global. Fear crept in immediately. He worried he had broken some rule, that he might lose one of the few sources of income he had left. Still, he showed up, wearing his cleanest shirt and holding on to dignity like a fragile shield. The meeting changed everything. Eleanor listened as Daniel explained his life, his struggles, his grief, and his determination to be both mother and father to Lily. There was no pity in her eyes, only understanding shaped by years of quiet regret. She offered him a position within the company, one that paid more than both his jobs combined, with stable hours and childcare support. It was not charity. She made that clear. It was an opportunity based on his work ethic and resilience, qualities she valued more than polished resumes. Life did not magically become perfect overnight. Daniel still carried grief, and Lily still missed her mother in ways no one could fix. But stability brought space to breathe, and space allowed healing to begin. Daniel had evenings at home again. He cooked dinners, helped with homework, and learned to laugh without guilt. Lily blossomed in ways he had only dreamed of, her smiles returning, her laughter filling rooms that once felt empty. Eleanor, too, found her life shifting. Watching Daniel and Lily grow into their new reality softened something hardened inside her long ago. She became more present, more human in her leadership. The company culture slowly transformed, not through speeches, but through example. Policies changed. Compassion became a quiet strength instead of a weakness. And in helping rebuild someone else's life, Eleanor found pieces of her own that had been missing for decades. Years passed, and the night of rain became a story Daniel told Lily as she grew older, a reminder of how close they had come to giving up and how one unexpected moment rewrote their future. Hartwell Global thrived, not just financially, but in spirit. And Daniel never forgot what it felt like to stand at the edge of despair, holding the hand of the person who gave his life meaning. If this story has touched your heart in any way, if it reminded you that kindness can arrive when we least expect it and change everything, please take a moment now to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to the channel so more stories like this can be told. Before this story ends, leave a comment below and tell us what this journey made you feel and whether you believe one moment of compassion can truly restart a life. Because sometimes, it is not the loud victories that save us, but the quiet decision to see another human being in their weakest moment and choose to care.